Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I choose love, love, love. Love, love, love. I choose it, love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I choose peace, 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 peace. Peace, peace, peace. I feel it, peace, 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 peace. I choose peace, 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 peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I choose joy, joy, joy. I feel it, joy, joy, joy. Every day it's joy, joy, joy. I'm choosing joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that
Good morning, Celebration Center for Spiritual Living. Hello. I am very loud this morning now that I'm up here listening to myself. My name is Reverend Chris Ashley. I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center. If this is your first time joining us and you don't know who I am, I'm so happy that you're here, whether you're here in Height Hall or watching online this morning. So, we have an exciting service. I know I say that every week, but I believe it every week. We are continuing in our December theme of Journey of Becoming. And last week, I really enjoyed Reverend Sherry's message on surrendering and showing up as peace and light in this time of year. This morning, I will be speaking on the joy of becoming. And Irina Kurashevitz is our practitioner on platform this morning. Let's give her a hand. We have Lynn Hollyfield, our music director, providing our music this morning. And we have Ivor. Shout out to Ivor. He is out of town, so we can blame all sound issues on him not being here this morning. However, I know that Rev Ryan, who is in the back running all of our sound and video and tech and everything, is magnificent and going to do an amazing job. And they are very prayed up, so. If you are here in person with us, if you will go ahead and make sure that your cell phones are on silent, no need to turn them off. In fact, if you want, you can go to YouTube or Facebook, find us online, and all of the thoughts that you're thinking in your head, put those into the chat so that we can see them later. And Ryan, and I know Ivor, you're watching online, will be watching out to comment back on those comments. If you are here via the live stream, say hello to us. Just say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're from, what you're up to, what you're doing this morning. Also, we have a few announcements this morning. First of all, Jen Fay, our practitioner, and Reverend Faith Woods are starting a Power of 8 Healing Circle and book study. That is beginning this Wednesday. This Wednesday? Yes, this Wednesday, December 15th. It's running from 7 to 9:15. It is on Zoom, so anybody is welcome to attend. Anybody online, it is a fully online course. The first hour from 7 to 8 is going to be that book study on the book, The Power of 8 by Lynn McTaggart. And then from 8:15 to 9:15, we will actually be doing one of those healing circles each week. You are not required, you can come to either part or both parts, and if you go to celebrationcenter.org, you can find out more information or register for that class. Also, our Christmas Eve service is going to be live streamed and here in person, obviously on December 24th at 5 o'clock p.m. This is earlier than we've had it in the past, but we're doing something different in the hopes that maybe it's not pitch black by the time we get out of here, but instead, you still have time to go home and enjoy family or do whatever your typical Christmas Eve celebrations are. And so please join us for that. And then finally, we have a tree here. So shout out to Paula Margus for getting this tree together and decorating it. Along with Ingy Schweiger helped with the decorations in the room, and Terry Murphy. So thank you to the three of y'all for all of your help in getting us looking so festive for this time of year. And I invite you to let's make this a communal tree. So get an ornament or two, maybe your favorite ornaments at home, bring them in. You don't need to purchase an ornament. This is for you to bring in, place on the tree, and then take home with you. You will get them back. But bring in your favorite ornament or two and add those to our communal tree to make this truly, it's kind of like the gratitude bulletin board, but it's a tree this month. And I will be bringing my ornaments in as well for next week. And so, with all of that, I invite all of us, as we do every week, to recite our vision together. And we do this to ensure that we are all headed on the same path, in the same book, on the same chapter, and in the same page in where we are headed as a beloved community. So please say this along with me. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. And now I invite Lynn up.
Welcome, everyone. going to do an original song. This is called Will There Be Peace? Thanksgiving blessings, turkey dressing, giving thanks and gratitude for pumpkin pie. Me and you, next day the countdown, Christmas carols all around, making gifts from the heart, a long, long list where to start. Singing songs of joy and cheer, goodwill and a midnight clear. Will there be peace on earth this year? Forever, forever. Shopping, baking, to the bank, racing, cookies in the making. The beauty of a pine tree's waiting for the frills of foil stars to grace the top. Shine afar and a little bell that waits to ring. We need the angel to get her wings. Singing songs of joy and cheer, goodwill and a midnight clear. Will there be peace on earth this year? Forever, forever. Child sleeping, holding light, keeping love alive for you and I, a gift that we're all seeking, a time we can all believe that in our lives there will be peace. Let's carry it everywhere, peace. Let's go and share, singing songs of joy and cheer, goodwill and a midnight clear. Will there be peace on earth this year? Forever, forever. Donna no peace, pacem, pacem. Donna nobis pacem.
This song. Well, Reverend Chris already introduced me so wonderfully. But for those who just joined, my name is Irina Kurashevich, and I'm a practitioner here at the center. And first of all, I would like to welcome all of us here, and I would like to give a special welcome for those who are here for the first time. If you feel comfortable, please raise your hand and tell us who you are. Yes, hello. Okay, we have Sarah and Kai. Let's give them warm welcome. How did you find us?
My mom actually told me about
Oh,
this particular
that's That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for coming here and being with us. Every week you see a practitioner in front of you on your screen or here at the center. According to Ernest Holmes, everyone who practices science of mind is a practitioner. There are licensed practitioners at the center who went through the special training to pray about our own life and about life of others. So if you would like a prayer, please give us that chance and that honor. Fill in the prayer card. If you're here, you can do that. Or you can submit your prayer request through our website or email it to prayer@celebrationcenter.org. All these ways of submitting your prayer request is absolutely confidential. No one but practitioners and our minister will see that. And practitioner will be praying about you, about what you would like to change or what you would like to expand during the week. You always can contact a practitioner and do a prayer session and just talk and do that. I personally will be available today after the service in our prayer room. So if you would like a prayer, please see me. So my reading today is from the founder of our philosophy, who the majority of you know. His name is Ernest Holmes. And when I'm picking the reading, I always look at the time when it was written, because Reverend Chris and I would discuss that how his work changed, how his views were changing. So this is, I found particularly interesting because that was written in the book This Thing Called Life in 1943. So it is in the middle of the Second World War. The world is absolutely shaken, and that's what Ernest Holmes had to say at that time. As water purifies itself by flowing, so an inner realization of the flow of spirit through us purifies the stagnant pools of morbid thought, and in so doing eliminates stagnation in the physical body. As travelers crossing the desert, covered with dust and filled with weariness, seek the refreshment of an oasis, the shelter of a rock in a weary land, the cool shade under a spreading palm, so the mind, weary with confusion, exhausted with too much effort, must seek a spiritual oasis, an inner communion with the invisible. This oasis is at the center of every man's life. There is the shelter of a rock in every man's soul. And I invite you to take a breath and just pray with me. There is only one life, and that life is God. As God is all there is no place in this universe and beyond where God is not. As God is a creative source of all that comes, visible and invisible. And we recognize God as love, peace, joy, harmony, abundance, prosperity, wholeness, knowing that God is life itself and life is God. And I know that I'm one and inseparable from the divine, from the Spirit, from the source of all good, of all God. And as I know my oneness, I know that everyone here is one and inseparable from the divine. I recognize the uniqueness of every expression of the divine in this room and beyond, knowing that every quality of God belongs to each of us. Easily and effortlessly, everyone can use it to create a better reality, to create a perfect reality what God is. And I know that healing is here, as healing is revealing God. I know wholeness. I know perfect relationship. I know God talking to God in every conversation. I know wisdom and clarity in all the situations where it's needed. I know peace. I know joy for this holiday season, for all who are ready and for all who are maybe not. I know perfect energy for those who don't feel it right now, as I know it's there. And I know peace. I know love. I know smiles. I know those beautiful smells of cookies and pumpkin pie, what Lynn was talking about, singing about. I know joy for the center. I know abundance. I know lots of gifts for the kids who don't have it very often. I know that there is abundance and prosperity. Prosperity of the soul, of kindness, of joy. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to know that God is. I'm grateful to know that God is life itself and the source of everything. I'm grateful to know that I'm one and to recognize oneness of everyone here. It's magnificent. And I am ready to release in gratitude, in peace, in surrender. I just let it be. I let my words be in the law, perfect mind of God. And I simply say, and so it is.
Layers on layers, piled up on new. Layers on layers, how can I get to you? I'm searching, I'm digging, I'm praying, and I'm singing. Oh, but when will I? When will I? When will I find you? I see a hidden identity. I hear a cry unheard. I feel the joy of laughter cut down by voice and a stare. It's a long journey with hidden treasures on the way. A tall cliff, a deep cavern, I won't let them get in my way. I'm standing alone on the earth, nothing I own. Coast the sky, the stars, the sound. I'm never heart of underground, and there's layers on layers, piled up on new. Layers on layers, how can I get to you? I'm searching, I'm digging, I'm praying, and I'm singing. Oh, but when will I? When will I? When will I find you? fear of being lost, but hear an inner voice that sees and accepts myself, releasing a controlling force. Layers on layers, I hold up on new. Layers on layers, how can I get to you? I'm a searching, I'm digging, I'm praying, and I'm a singing. Oh, but when will I? When will when will I find you? When will I? When will I? When will I find you?
Thank you so much, Lynn. All right. I probably do need to come down ever so slightly. Good morning, everyone. So I have to admit that this talk this morning has not been my most favorite to prepare, because to me, this idea of becoming isn't always joyful or happy or pleasant. And it actually reminded me of the Velveteen Rabbit. Does anybody know that story of the Velveteen Rabbit? It's by Marjorie Williams Bianco. And there's a section in the book where they're talking about becoming real. And it says, "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." And then lower down, he continues and says, "It doesn't happen all at once. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But none of these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand." And I was like, yeah, that sounds more like becoming to me than this joy of becoming, right? And so I really kind of struggled with this topic, especially at the beginning of the week, because I'm like, becoming is profound, and there is this joy that's underlying it, that sort of essence of who we are. And yet, I'm not sure that I would make my own talk title say, "The Joy of Becoming," like it's this lighthearted sort of frolic through the fields process, because that has not been my personal experience. It's been more like the skin horse and the Velveteen Rabbit by the end of that book. And I know that it's all a journey, right? So here I am, maybe like one eyeball is out, but like my joints are still pretty good. And, we'll see what happens in 30 or 40 more years. And so then I started looking at, y'all know how I like to break apart words and figure out what everything means and all of that. And so I started looking at this idea of becoming. And that led me down quite the little philosophy rabbit hole, I'm not going to lie, because there's this idea of being versus becoming, these two separate ideas, you're being or you're becoming. And so these ideas originated with Parmenides and Heraclitus, and then Plato really took them and ran and made them popular, so much so to the fact that when I was looking up and doing all of this research, it was Plato came up with these ideas. But actually, you can find them in Parmenides' work and you can find them in Heraclitus' work, both of whom precede Plato. So this idea of being and becoming are ages and ages old. This is something that we've been thinking about and considering and talking about for, I don't know, probably since the dawn of time. And so in this idea, this sort of Plato idea of what these are, I'm going to define both of these. So being, the world of being, is absolute, independent, and transcendent. It never changes and causes the essential nature of things we perceive in the world of becoming. So this being is that sort of changeless. To me, it's that that essence, that consciousness, that God stuff, that thing that we're talking about when we say the word God, but really it's just that thing that's undescribable and unknowable, that infinite, absolute, eternal, that's kind of underlying, all things, and yet it is changeless. It has always been there. It will always be there. It's that sort of foundation on which everything else stands. And then becoming is the physical world that we perceive through our senses. This world is always in movement and always changing. And what I love about this idea is that we are both, right? We are where these two things come together. Humanity is where these two things come together. And I'm gonna get more into that in a minute. But so with this being and this becoming, so being the oneness, the allness, that unchanging thing, and then becoming being everything else. And we know that it's all one thing. It's this paradox of it, you're either being or you're becoming. And Plato believed, at least at the beginning of his life, and then there's a bunch of controversy about whether he changed his mind or not, but that led me down a whole rabbit hole that I just had to kind of back out of because I didn't have time for all that. But at least at the beginning of his teachings, you were either one or the other. There was no overlap. You could not be both being and becoming, and therefore humanity was becoming because we were not being, right? Humans are always constantly changing. We're changing everything. We're changing our minds. We're changing our beliefs. We're changing the way that we show up in the world. We're changing our clothes and our looks, and everything about us is constantly in the state of flux and becoming, right? And so that was it. We are becoming. We are not being. And yet, we know that that's not true, right? We know that we are also that being. We are also that changeless, that thing that is underlying all. We are both at the same time. So then I got into another little rabbit hole, and I am going to show this video because it just, to me, this kind of idea of being and becoming, it leads me into this place of opening to my own divinity and understanding that there's something more out there. It's this little place that the light can get in. And another place that happens for me is thinking about the solar system and the galaxy and the universe and the multiverse and how everything is so much bigger than me, and yet I am that totality also here in this human form, right? I am both of those things. And so I got into this idea of, there was another philosopher, didn't write down who it was, and he was talking about how even if you take something that appears to be unchanging, like a rock, and you look at it and it appears to be unchanging. Now we know that stuff's happening, it's getting broken down with the weather and the elements, or if it's underwater and things like that. But if you just take this rock and you look at it, it appears to be unchanging. And then what he talks about is that we are moving through space at 70,000 miles per hour. And so nothing is unchanging because right now we are literally not in the same space that we were in when I began talking, even though we're all in the same space in this room and on this planet. This planet is not in the same space that it was. And so I have a little video for you. It's just like 1.5 minutes long. And to me, the first time that I saw it a while ago, it really shifted the way that I think about the solar system and how we are moving throughout our own galaxy and the universe. So. that model of the solar system where it shows us that we're not the sun, even the sun isn't stagnant in the universe, but instead it is spiraling around the Milky Way, around the Milky Way. And then the Milky Way is spiraling around Andromeda. And then all of it is spiraling in the universe. And so even if you take away the fact that we're spinning around the sun, we are moving across the universe in this vast way. And so even this time next year, when the Earth is at the same point around the sun that it was now, we're not in the same part of the universe that we were at this moment, right? And that to me is just mind-blowing. That we are so becoming that even if we were just sitting in a dark cave without letting anything in, or even if we were, in one of those sensory deprivation tanks, even then we are still in this ever-evolving process of becoming. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think it could go one of two ways. It could either be like, oh my God, we are just hurtling through space on a rock. What are we even doing? Or to me, it brings this sense of comfort and relief that everything that I'm feeling, everything that I'm experiencing, every thought that I have, every belief system that I unpack or break down, all of it, it's okay because I'm just becoming. That's it, I'm just becoming. And so even when I do something that feels incongruent with who I am, or is sin as in it missed the mark, right? Sin is an archery term saying that you missed the mark. So even if I miss the mark, or I make a mistake, or I have to come back and apologize because I did something that was out of integrity or out of alignment, that's okay. I was just becoming. Maybe I was in like a wonky part of the universe, but it's okay. Like we're millions and trillions of miles away from there now, right? And so we can constantly be in this process of unfolding and evolving, and we're doing it together because we're all hurtling through space on this rock together. And so as we are becoming, like I said, what we know to be true in science of minds, regardless of what the old philosophers thought, or regardless of whether Plato changed his mind or not, what we know to be true is that these two things are not mutually exclusive. We are both becoming and being all at the same time. And to me, what we are becoming, what we are kind of striving and moving towards is this greater realization and understanding of ourselves, which is really just a return to our own awareness and consciousness of our own divinity and oneness, because we are already that in its totality. We are already being. We cannot be more because the being is unchangeless. It is always there in its totality in every moment simultaneously. Thomas Troward says, I'm paraphrasing, Thomas Troward says, for the infinite to exist without falling apart, then it must exist in its totality simultaneously at every point, always, continuously. And if it didn't, the whole universe would fall apart, infinity would collapse, because all of a sudden there would be two, and that would be impossible, right? And so even as we are becoming, even as we are hurtling through space, we are already fully manifested, fully divine, fully realized. And so this process of becoming is really just a process of waking up to our own divinity, of becoming more and more aware of the consciousness that already exists in us and as us and through us. And that kind of brings me some peace also, right? Because it's this full circle, and I'm going to get back there because there's no other option. Once again, I am already that. And so any mistakes that I make, or anything that happens, or any challenges or obstacles are not actually mistakes or challenges or obstacles, but really just steps on that journey of becoming back to my own awareness of being, which is what I already am. So we can all just take a breath and relax a little bit and let go and maybe unclench. I don't know if y'all clench, but I like to clench. Just unclench and maybe laugh a little bit more and have a little bit more fun and just be a little more at peace, because it's all working out. And no matter how much we clench, we're still going to be hurtling through space. And so we have no point or no option but to just trust that just as the earth knows exactly where to be in its own orbit, that we are in our own divine, perfect, and right place. What this has also brought up for me, and I've been kind of in the space, I don't know if it was taking this position or moving cross country or getting engaged or becoming a minister or one of the other 87,000 big changes in my life this year. I'm not sure which one it was, but I've been in this process of a life review, right? Just kind of looking over my life and the different stages and how far I've come and all of the things. And, it's in the moment, some of those things were really, really hard. And sometimes they were really, really hard because of external experiences, and we can go into, well, it was your consciousness creating that, but we're not going to do that because that's metaphysical malpractice and not helpful at all. We can go into that and we can say, yes, my consciousness did create that in some way, and yet it was still an external thing. Sometimes that was the case. Sometimes I was just super hard-headed and stubborn, and I made things way more challenging than I needed to make them. I don't know if anybody else has done that at all, but I definitely did, especially in my teens and early 20s. And yet, without all of those steps and all of those challenges and obstacles, I wouldn't be here today. And I look around at every aspect of my life, even the aspects that I'm still looking to improve or that I want to look different, and I go, wow, I'm doing pretty darn good right now. Like, this is so good. And yet, when I think about individual moments and experiences that I've had to go through to get here, some of those have been really hard. And a lot of those, a lot of the hardest ones, and one that I'm in right now, is letting go of what no longer serves me, and letting go of people and friendships and relationships and experiences and ideas and belief systems and things that I never thought that I would. I thought that I would be that way forever and ever and ever more. Like my stubbornness, for example. And in my early 20s, I almost wore that stubbornness like a badge of, well, it's my way or the highway, and I am hard-headed because I need to be, and that is resilience. I called it resilience, right? And now I realize, I look back, and part of me, there's a grieving process to missing that girl that could do anything, right? And she would get stuff done, and it might be really messy, and you might be going, did we need this done? But it got done. And I look now and I'm like, oh, but the resilience that I have now is this softer, sweeter, gentler resilience that allows other people in and allows me to support myself still, but in this other way. And then what's been really weird as I've kind of done this life review is that I have a lot of grief coming up. I'm grieving the loss of that hot-headed, stubborn girl of my early 20s, and I'm like, I have no interest in being her anymore, and I have no interest in going back to that time in my life, and yet I still find myself in this grieving process. And so understanding that I say all of this to say, that's okay. It's okay if we are grieving the loss of something that we were, that we miss, or even if we don't miss it, it's okay to let it be hard. It's okay for it to not be easy. Adyashanti says, enlightenment is a destructive process. It has nothing to do with becoming better or being happier. Enlightenment is the crumbling away of untruth. It is seeing through the facade of pretense. It is the complete eradication of everything we imagined to be true. And so, yes, I read that and I was like, yep, that is it. And so when I look at this talk title, The Joy of Becoming, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know about joy. But then I go, well, yeah, it is joy. It might not be happiness, but this joy, when I think about what is joy, what does joy mean when we think about it as a God quality, as this part of being, not becoming, but joy as being? What it then becomes is this knowing. It's part of our essence. And so I can say, well, that time was really hard, or this was really challenging, or I'm grieving the loss of that. And yet through it all, I can have the joy that comes with knowing that I am already whole and complete. I am fully realized as this being. We are human beings, right? Because we are already in our totality complete, even as we are on this process and journey of becoming. And I go, okay, the joy of becoming, I get it. It's not that it's easy or not messy or happy or fun all of the time, but rather there's this knowing and this understanding of myself. And so as I can step more into that, then I can show up more authentically and more vulnerably and more willing to just be fully myself, whatever that looks like, whatever it shows up as, even if it means looking wildly different every day. I can just allow myself to explore and play in that realm of who am I in this moment? What does authentic me look like? What am I seeking to express here? What am I becoming in this moment and in this process? And then, because I was still, remember, I'm still like down this rabbit hole, I was thinking about, Rev Ryan and I both love Doctor Who. Any other Doctor Who fans? A couple. A couple. Hopefully there's some, shout out if you're a Doctor Who fan online. I love Doctor Who, like obsessed with Doctor Who. And there's an episode, the Doctor, who is the main character, and he's an alien from outer space and not really even a he anymore. It's this being beyond gendering. But they have two hearts, and they're called they're Time Lord, right? And so the Time Lord, this Doctor, has a wife named River Song. And they meet up. The Doctor travels in time and space. And River Song travels in time and space, sometimes with the Doctor, but oftentimes separately. And then they come together at these different points in their timelines, and they both have a journal, and they figure out where they are in each other's timeline. Every time they come together, they open the journal. Okay, have you done this? Have you done that? Have we had this adventure together for you? And they figure out how well the other one knows them. And so the first introduction that we have to River Song, the Doctor doesn't know her yet, and she has had all of these adventures with him. But he hasn't had them yet, right? Because they're moving in time. And she says, I think about this all the time. She says to another character, she says, you know when you see a photograph of someone, and you know, when you see a photograph of someone, you know, but it's from years before you knew them. And it's like they're not quite finished. They're not done yet. And then she goes on to say several times, that's not my Doctor yet. I don't know him yet. This isn't it. He's not complete. He's still like baking. And so I thought about that this idea of becoming, that's what it is. And when I look back at pictures of myself from when I was younger, I love that person. And yet that's not who I am anymore, right? And I find it to be true, like even Ryan will show me pictures from their past, and I'm like, well, I mean, I love that person because I love you, but like that person is not done yet. That's not the person that I know, right? And so that's the beauty of becoming, is that we're constantly in this evolving state of baking. We're like this half-baked cake. Barbara Waterhouse, Reverend Dr. Barbara Waterhouse from CSL Asheville used to say that a lot. She said, we're like a half-baked cake, so we're perfect. All of the ingredients are there. We are already the cake in its totality, yet we're not complete yet. We are still becoming because we are still being baked in the oven. And so Ernest Holmes, our founder, says, God never had but one son. This son is being born at every season, in every place, through all races and in all nations. Every birth is a divine event. Every conception is immaculate. Every child who is born into the world represents the Son of the eternal Father. And that is our beingness in its totality, right? As we look at, we are coming up to the celebration of Jesus the Christ's birth, whether you celebrate that or not, or whether you believe that this is when it happened or not in the yearly as we're swirling through space. But we're celebrating this idea of this Christ consciousness being born into this one man who was, we believe in Science of Mind, the great example, not the great exception. And so what Ernest Holmes teaches us is that we are all that. We are all capable of everything that Jesus did and even more, because we are continually becoming even as all of humanity. And so I think about this idea of, Jesus is begotten. In the Bible, it talks about so-and-so begot so-and-so, begot so-and-so, right? And yes, Jesus was begot from God, but so are we all, because we are all that God stuff in its totality. We are all these half-baked cakes. And so Meister Eckhart says, God never begot but one son, but the eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. The eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. And so in each one of us, that oneness shows up. We are the individualized expression of the one in every moment in its totality, through all of our messiness and our mistakes and our loss of identity and finding ourselves and grieving and our happiness and our joy and our sadness and our anger. All of it is the totality of the divine showing up as each and every one of us, as we are constantly in this process of becoming. And so that paradox that I am both a human being fully realized and constantly in the state of changing and becoming, that paradox is so beautiful, because it is truly who each and every one of us are. And so I invite you to just close your eyes and breathe in that knowing for yourself, that you are a human being fully realized, fully that which is always that which always is and has no becoming. You are that, and you are that which is always becoming and never is. And so just breathe into that knowingness, breathe into your own divinity. Because there truly is only the one thing going on, this one infinite expression of divine that is expressing itself out as each and every one of us. The universe forever begetting the only begotten as each and every individual human on this planet now and forevermore. As we spiral through the universe, constantly vortexing around our sun, always in this changing process of becoming, and yet already fully realized as God selves, fully the one. And so I just breathe that in and know that to be true for myself. I know that to be true for each and every individual on this planet. Whether they hear my voice or not, it doesn't matter. It's true for all of us. And so we can just breathe into that and know that and relax and lighten up and unclench and surrender to this truth that everything that is happening is just an expression of our own becoming. And we can stand in our own being and stand in the joy that is that becoming, knowing that it is all unfolding in that divine perfection that we know to be true, because there is no other option. And so I just give great thanks for that. I give great thanks for this truth, that this paradox of being and becoming is who I am, and is who every single other person that I come into contact with or meet or talk to or interact with in any way, that we are forever begetting the begotten as us. And so I simply release my word, I let it go, I know it is done as I have spoken. And so it is.
Wow, that was beautiful, Reverend Chris. I'm going to do a song. This is an original song called "Freedom to Fly." Winter fields lying still, say goodbye. Tomorrow will bring the new. We're moving on, going forward. Watch the dawn, always change. Blankets old, letting go. It's good, we're told. Morning sun, open seeds growing wild. Calls to me then. Close your eyes and feel the world. Hold on tight, we're in this world. Don't look back, there's nothing to leave. Feel your freedom to fly. Go on now, just fly. 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 River stones, baking sun, roughness smoothed by river song. Moving towards the open sea, flowing wild, calls to me, then back to winter, long dark nights, laying dormant, decreased light, thoughts arise from the deep and move you towards your dreams to keep. Oh, oh. Oh, then close your eyes and feel the world. Hold on tight, you're in this world. Live your dreams with no disguises and feel your freedom to fly. Go on now, just fly. Fly. Fly.
Thank you, Lynn. And so this is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings. And just as a reminder, your very presence here, whether you are online or here in the room, is a gift to this community. And I am personally so grateful for every single member in person and attendee and eavesdropper who we don't even know you're listening. I'm so grateful for all of it because you lend your presence and your consciousness and your love to this community just by showing up and being here. And so we are also a tithing community, and we run on donations and gifts like yours. And so there are several different ways that you can donate. You can go to celebrationcenter.org and click on the Give button, and that will lead you to our secure online platform. You can also go to celebrationcenter.org/donate, and it will lead you to the same page. If you are here in the room, then after the service, please feel free to come stop by one of the tables and drop your offering or gift in the basket. And now I just invite you to metaphorically bring all that you offer, whether it is time, talent, treasure, or just simply your presence to your heart, and say our offertory affirmation with me. I open my heart to give and receive the blessings that our spirits promise to me. As I do, the entire universe conspires to give me an abundant life, and I open to accept it. And so it is. And now we have Irina for a prayer of our gifts.
Well, Reverend Chris just said it so good. So I invite us all to bless together, to bless this time together, and to bless the finances that flow through this center, that we can come together physically, virtually, in any way, that this space is available for us, this wonderful sound, those videos, the minister, everything. It is a blessing. It is a blessing. It is a gift of God that comes through this community, from this community. So I'm very grateful to know prosperity and abundance for every member or a friend or a guest of the Celebration Center. And I know that this community grows, it blossoms, it thrives, as everyone does. And I'm so grateful, and I just simply let it be, knowing that this blessing is all our prayer requests already done in the perfect mind of God. And this is so, and so it is.
All right, I'm going to finish up with, this is a Chris Rosser song. It's called Christmas in the Ashram, and there's a part for you in this. If you would sing, I'll show you where. So it's, From the west to the east, they left their homes in search of peace. A transcendental mystic yogi took them in. He was kind and holy. From California to Bombay, they traveled far to sing and pray. But on the last day of the year, the songs became a little weird. Singing Om Alleluia, Hare Hare Krishna, in excelsis Deo, Rama Bolo, Rama Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel, Jai Siram, Christmas in the ashram. It's your chance, The guru must be out of town. This tinsel on Vishnu's crown, and someone put put a Christmas star on one of Shiva's extra arms. There's eggnog in the black spice tea, lotus petals on evergreens, incense burners green and red, Santa hats on shaven heads, singing home hallelujah, Hare Hare Krishna, in excelsis Deo, Rama Bolo, Rama Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel, Jai Sri Ram, Christmas in the ashram. They sang Gospels and Upanishads, Psalms and Vedas praising God. Maybe Christ and Krishna are amused when humans get a little confused, singing Om Hallelujah, Hare Hare Krishna, in excelsis Deo, Rama Bolo, Rama Bolo, Gloria, Gloria, Govinda Gopala, Om Noel, Jai Sri Ram, Christmas in the ashram. Om Noel, Jai Sri Ram, Christmas in the ashram.
Thank you, Lynn. I like that song. And so now I just send all of us out into the world to both be and become in everything that we do. And so it is. And really quick before you cancel the live stream, or before you end the live stream, Ryan, just a quick reminder, if you do come in person at any time over the next couple of weeks, bring your favorite ornament or two to add to our communal tree, and sign up, register for the book study and healing circle beginning this Wednesday from 7 to 9:15, and that is drop in. There is no fee. It's not a class. And so we are just asking people to register so Reverend Faith and Jen can know what to expect. But you are more than welcome to just drop in. There will be a love offering taken each week. Thank you.